Hi guys, Charlie here from FunkyVapes with another funky review for all my friends. Today I want to look at a thing. It's not really... Anyways, we'll talk about this. Devices like the Caravela. So this is my favorite device ever. I really enjoy using the Caravela. I think it's the best performing, balanced with the best looking ratio I can find out there. Loving the iGo on it. I think this is a great setup. I will have a vape and then I will explain myself. Sorry, I overfilled this. Anyways, my only complaint about the Caravela thus far is those center pins. They are a pain in the ass. So basically you get all these little pins in the bag, and they're all different lengths for the different batteries. And if you didn't know, when you have these batteries, the AWIMRs at least, that's all I really use, you get different sizes. And I mean, they only vary by millimeters. You can probably not even tell from that shot there. But I assure you, they do vary in size. You also get these nipple-y top ones with the little magnet spacer. So as you buy these, no two are going to be identical in size. They might be close enough to identical that they make no difference in something like the Caravela. But for the most part, the discrepancies in size, they will translate to having to use a different pin, because these pins are only about a millimeter difference in length. So it might come down to use this battery, you now have to change the pins, which isn't a huge deal. But like I said, now you have to carry pins with you when you go out, and they're dainty, they're minuscule. You will lose them eventually, especially if you're drinking, and I like to drink when I go out. So it drove me nuts. So I talked to Pedro, and I told him about... Pedro's the guy who made the Caravela. And I told him, I'm like, listen, the guy who makes the Chi-Us has this adjustable telescoping center pin, and it's fantastic. You don't have to carry little pins around with you. He said he chose not to use those because they translate to a voltage loss, and I do understand that, and I understand he wants to make the best. So he did succeed in making the best performance relative to his device, but it lost a little bit, in my opinion, it lost that little bit of just versatility and ease of use. So it was enough for me to look a little deeper, and a good friend of mine, Sean, goes by Niagara everywhere, he was on the quest to solve this problem too. So he spoke with Pedro as well, and together they came up with a pretty simple idea. So basically, Pedro said to use some kind of a nut. So Sean he went to eBay and he bought these fittings, or brass fittings, and I bought them too, and they didn't work. They were actually way too huge. Like, they were huge. They were twice the size of the pins, almost as wide as the Caravela. They were odd. They were the wrong thing. So then we bought some of these hex nuts, and even these were slightly off in their size. They weren't perfect. And then I went and found these. I know they're somewhere. These hex nuts. These are perfect. So what I did was, on my Caravelas, I have 2 complete Caravelas. On my Caravelas, I put in a pin that was close to the right size and then put on one of these nuts. So now, all I have to do is just unscrew and screw this nut, and they're brass nuts. They're nice brass, actually. And now I have an adjustable pin, so I can adjust to battery length. And that's about it. It's super, super simple. They fit the pin perfectly. Look at, they're pretty much the exact same brass. I'm sure Pedro's are a little bit better quality. They shine up great. They're cheap as chips. I'm going to put a link to the eBay guy I bought mine from. The key is they're called M5 brass nut 5mm brass hex full nuts. Just an unnecessarily long name. So basically they're M5 brass nuts, 5mm. I believe that's the thread. And yeah, they're hex nuts. So ideally you want to get them nice and thin so you have a little more play so you can get down nice and easy. I paid £2.67 for 25 of these. So that works out to $4.20 Canadian, and the shipping was about £4, so about $6 for shipping. So it actually was more to ship them than it cost to have them. And really, like this one, if I tighten this all the way and put my cap on, I get a slight little rattle. And it's slight enough to drive me bonkers, I assure you. And that little adjustment there with that nut, now no more rattle. It works just like the Chi-Yu. A little bit hacky in the way I went about doing it, but now I noticed no difference in performance at all, and I do promise that. Like I said, I flooded this little doozy, but it performs great. I'm not going to go and pull out the voltmeter, the ohmmeter, and check the drop in the extra resistance, the drop in voltage. I'm sure it is there. I mean, it has to be there. You're putting another point of contact between your battery and your atomizer, and you're covering up the threads as well. So there's little. I'm sure there's a voltage drop, but I really can't notice it. Just given my coil setup, I use such a low resistance that it probably is almost indistinguishable to me. So that's my solution. And it's not even my solution. It was a joint solution. Like I said, my good friend Sean was instrumental in this, and Pedro was surprisingly receptive. He's like, hey, I don't want to use them. If you want to use them, here's what I would recommend to use. Worked out great. I'll put a link in the description if you want to pick up a pack of these. If you're interested and you're in Canada, I can probably just mail you some for free. Not probably, I will. Just pay the shipping, but it's actually cheaper to get them shipped from the UK, to be honest, because it's going to cost me $8 to ship them to you. You might as well pick up 25 of them, have them handy. If you put a Caravela pin in something like the GGTS, because they do fit in here, you can have an adjustable pin in there as well. I don't know why you would want to do that. If you wanted to, you could. With other devices, if they have like a floating brass pin, you can just get the appropriate nut for that as well, instead of using a spring. So I think it's a cool little trick. I thought I'd share it with everybody. Post it on the Caravela forums. That's it. If you have any questions about it, about what I purchased, just let me know. I'll answer them for you. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Vape Groovily. Catch you later.